Well, let's just dig in a little bit, and what I like to do is just kind of do an overall picture of kind of what elder care looks like before we get into Medicaid or asset protection. And so I kind of have the usual hit list right here. And of course, everybody realizes the subject of long-term care, the costs. We'll get into what those costs on an average look like. We have finances, and usually we've polled larger crowds in the past, and usually at the end of the day, it's always finances are the biggest one. A lot of times the elders don't want to pay for the care because it's too expensive. Family can be a big one. We see a lot of issues. Believe it or not, there's probably no absolutely perfect family out there today. We see a lot more dysfunction, unfortunately, than we do see functional. And so the big thing comes into play, especially with the elders, is who's going to be responsible that would, step up on the power of attorney, on the advance directive, that would be responsible and trustworthy to make those decisions if the elder can't make those. We got a telephone call from a daughter in Phoenix, and she literally didn't have an idea about anything, but she was highly concerned, looking out for her mother, who's in Central Oregon. She calls, and we get this call about 3 or 4 times a year. I need a power of attorney. Great. Who do you want to be your attorney, your agent under your power of attorney? Oh no, it's for my mom. And our first question is your mom competent? Does she have the capacity to understand what she's doing in executing a power of attorney? What do you think the answer is 90% of the time? That ship has already sailed. Mom does not have the capacity to execute the power of attorney. What happens is the courthouse is the next step. That means that if they're incompetent or incapacitated, you have to file a petition for an appointment of a guardian or a conservator or both. And simply the guardian is the person that makes the decisions over the person, whereas the conservatorship handles the dollars. I like to recommend the power of attorney and the advance directive, that if you didn't have a will and you didn't have a trust and you didn't have anything else, that's okay. Make sure you have a really good power of attorney. Make sure you have a really good advance directive. That way, when daughter calls up or son calls up or husband calls up, our question is, do you have power of attorney? Music to our ears is yes. That's the best thing that we can hear.